another edition of Watched It. Today we watched Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, if you're into it,
turn this off.
go watch it before you listen to
this.
this. Because you don't want to be spoiled with the stuff we're going to spoil.
Yeah. There's gonna be spoilers.
Oddly, no plot to spoil.
No.
No major ramifications, in my opinion, on the greater MCU.
I mean, other than introducing characters into it. That needed stuff there, and I mean, there is a spoiler that something's going to happen with Deadpool and Thor.
Yeah, but who knows when?
I imagine one of the upcoming Avenger movies.
I mean, they're both like thousands of years old. Like they could both live for thousands of years.
Yeah, yeah.
Who knows when that could take place? Where would you rank this in the Deadpool films? I think I like the second one better than this one.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing is, I
think
it's
a really good movie.
It's good. I think mine is going to go 1, 3, 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fair
I feel like 1 gets top spot just because it made this possible. And I mean, also it's really good, but it made this possible. And it definitely was unique. Like, not that, I mean, of course, sequels are going to be the same as their predecessors. But yeah, like before Deadpool came out, like it broke boundaries and ground by coming out. And so it's like, while 2 is and 2 and 3 are fantastic, it's like, they're not groundbreaking because the ground was already broken by the first one. So 1 will always be top in my opinion. And actually, if we want to really go at it, we could go 1, 3, 2, and then Once Upon a Deadpool. Once Upon a Deadpool is still fantastic.
I haven't seen it yet. I need
you
to
really should. You really should.
Good story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't seem like they had any handcuffs. For this, other than a cocaine, they weren't allowed to make drugs. Show drugs, but it still felt like it lost some edge to it. Even though, I mean, it was bloody.
I mean, it was. It starts out with just freaking a gore fest, and I mean, there's lots of swearing, lots of cussing and stuff. But I mean, there's something about like it still felt Deadpool. Felt right, but. There's something. I don't know.
There was something missing. Some magic that I've seen in the first and second.
Definitely a little Disney sprinkled on top, no matter what.
I mean, I think part of it might be the music. I did not like
the music
any of the music choices they made in this, with the exception of the fight that they did in the van.
Yeah.
Something about that music hit right.
Yeah.
But all the other musical choices they made, the Madonna at the end was kind of okay.
The Madonna was all right, but one is also like, that's one thing I think they really messed up with this movie is just how much they released in trailers.
Yeah.
Like that Madonna, by the time you get to the final fight scene or the big fight scene, I guess. Actually, I guess it is kind of the final fight scene because they don't have to fight to defeat the main villain. But
they've done enough fighting.
Yeah. So that by the time you get to the final fight scene, like that song, because it was in every trailer and even the like lead up to that scene was in every trailer, doesn't hit as much. Another thing I saw. And like they did hold back with like Wesley Snipes and Channing Tatum for sure, but still like I know there's leakers, but also there was just some headlines like I all knew Elektra was coming, and then
I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to anything. I knew that X-23 was coming because I saw that, and
I really feel like that, like the fact that X-23 was in the trailers, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Like, leave all this. Off the let some.
No, the trailer literally should have just been that first one that came out that showed them like describing the plot, but they played music over it. So it's like you didn't need anything else. Mm-hmm. You needed a 2-second advertisement once a week that just said Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah, and that's one thing I do think is crazy about this movie is how much they like. There was I think there was a cycle of 4 or 5 trailers. I can't remember, but there was 4 or 5 trailers. Plus, they did like they had a Heineken thing that they did a crossover with. They did some mobile game stuff. They had a couple other commercial circuits starring either Deadpool or Wolverine or them together. And the whole thing was like, you are putting all this money into advertising this movie, which out of all movies, this is probably one you need to least advertise with. I still remember when they first, like I said, that very first trailer, the very first one, even before they're describing it, where Ryan Reynolds is sitting on a couch and he's talking about Deadpool. And then he was like, hey, Hugh, you up for a movie? And Hugh Jackman's was like, yeah, sure, why not?
That's all you need.
That blew the world away, where it's like, you don't need everyone who is a fan of Marvel and who is a fan of Deadpool and stuff they're going to see this, and then some. So I was like, you don't need to advertise for this movie, and I feel like they advertised more for this than they did for other things that they've put out recently. I'm just like, what are you doing? I mean, it's fine and all, and then spoiler and stuff, but it's fine and all. But I also am just like, you could have saved money. You could have saved money on the marketing because you really didn't need to for this movie.
Best cameo. Wesley Snipes for sure.
Oh yeah,
dude. I mean, I'm sure you heard me. I was like I think I was the only one in the theater, but I was like, yes.
Well, so here's my thing: is like that scene, the way it's set up is what is it like? You know, they're in this place, and Deadpool's like about to attack. Who comes in and he attacks, and it's Carmen Electra as not Carmen Electra. What am I talking? Just Electra. What's
Vanessa
her name?
Hudgens?
No. I'm trying to remember the character's name suddenly.
Electra.
Yeah, it is Electra. But anyways, comes into the room.
Sorry, Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner. Yeah, and then that music kicks in, and you're like, who else is showing up?
Yeah.
And he just comes strolling in. Woo!
I did not expect that one bit. I love later on when he's like, "There's only one blade, and there's only ever gonna be one blade."
I love Deadpool's looking at the camera.
Man, I hope he shows up again.
I mean, they left the door open for all of them. Like one is, I was thinking about that fight where at the end when they're like, "Yeah, you probably won't survive," and I'm like, "Oh no, there's a lot of besides Elektra and Gambit, there's a lot of people with extreme healing factors on this team." It's like, there's a good shot you'll all survive because it takes a lot to kill most of you. I mean, we have 2 Wolverines, we have a Deadpool, and then we got Blade, who's half vampire, who can heal from almost just as much. Like, I don't think you could remove his head, but I think that's the limit. Like, besides that, I'm pretty sure he's coming back. So I was like, you guys got a pretty decent. I mean, 4 out of 6 is not bad numbers when you're talking about survival rates.
Channing Tatum as Gambit. At first, I was like, this looks stupid. He's too big for this. He kind of nailed it.
Well, what I love, and I love how much they played into it, is because I'm not sure if you knew this. Like, Channing Tatum always talked about, like, man, dream role for me. I'd love to play Gambit.
Really?
He's always loved Gambit, wanted to play Gambit. And so I loved how much when he's like, the name's, I forget what Gambit's real name is all of a sudden, but he's like, oh, the name's Remy LeBeau. Yeah. Or people call me Gambit. And Deadpool's like, are you sure you don't just want them to call you that? And then they kept playing jokes about him being, like, he's like, or like when they're like, we didn't get to save our people, or he's like, or even be known. Like, he's just like laid into the fact that he wants to be Gambit and never got the chance. Or he's like, they're like, yeah, I got banished there. He's like, I might have been born here for all I know. It's just like, oh, that was so great. But yeah, no, it's that just like, I mean, probably not to the same level, but just like Ryan Reynolds wanted to play Deadpool, like Channing Tatum has vocalized many times. He's like, love to play Gambit.
Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
Yes.
That was unexpected. Fantastic, yeah.
Yep.
I especially love that after credits scene where they just got him just foul mouthing it up.
I love the smile because you can tell he was just having fun with that.
Yeah.
Like, he was having a good time. Just like, because he always was playing, the perfect soldier boy. You're not going to get Captain America to cuss or swear. He finally gets to let loose. Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Pick up that one. Yeah, Henry Cavill as Wolverine. People have always talked about him possibly being the next Wolverine, but now maybe we don't need another Wolverine because it seems like he may be up. I saw an article actually while we were driving over here about, and I've always said, like, once if Deadpool's in the MCU, like, Wolverine and Deadpool is definitely an iconic team up. I think another one that's just as iconic is Deadpool and Spider-Man. And so I would love for Deadpool and Spider-Man to have some team up or at least some interaction. And I just saw an article that said that
I thought that's what like the after credits scene was going to be. It was like Deadpool and Spider-Man just like puking in his mask because Deadpool's just slicing somebody up.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing is I saw an article saying that like in an interview that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds said they'd love to team up again to also join up with Spider-Man. It's like, I'd pay for that.
Yeah.
Little Deadpool, Wolverine, and Spider-Man.
Yeah, fantastic. I hated the dog.
Yeah.
There were too many slow, kind of sappy scenes for me.
Some people definitely, I've seen some people talking about that. I was okay with it. I mean, one is it's like, it definitely, and that's probably led to some of the, doesn't feel as hitting as others. It definitely was more, we want to have a wholesome. Even though it's Deadpool, we want to have a wholesome story and wholesome ending, which definitely probably comes from the Disney side of things. But I don't know. I didn't feel like it was too bad for me. I was all right with it. You know, it's like, I mean, we're in the MCU.
Yeah, it's fine.
You gotta have.
I mean, look, Deadpool 2 had a certain amount of that as well.
Yeah. I love and we didn't get to, like in both 1 and 2 we got to see a ton of them. But I did love all the side characters showing up. I loved that scene where they're gathering for his birthday party. Everyone's saying happy birthday, and then like they pan out to the whole shot and you just see Colossus towering over everybody. I'm just like, yeah, that man don't fit in a room.
And I love Yuki.
Mm-hmm.
And Teenage Megasonic Warhead.
Teenage Warhead. Yeah, I could use some more of her. I've always enjoyed her in
Negasonic Teenage Warhead?
Yeah, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I've always enjoyed her in the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
So I could have definitely used more of her. And she wasn't, I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be that, their relationship has grown and they're actually, a family now or whatever. But still, it's like, she used to be so cutting. And like, sure, she insulted his toupee, but she was still being very nice. I'm like, nah, I want you to get back to being the cutting down Deadpool.
Yeah. What did you think of Emma Corrin, who played Cassandra Nova as the villain?
Pretty good.
I was like, I don't know this actress whatsoever.
Yeah.
But she has been in something that in a role that I love.
Supernatural?
No. She was born after Supernatural ended or something like that. Like, she's so young. She's born in 1995. But yeah, she started her career, I think, after Supernatural ended. Let's see. Her first movie was pretty recent from what I saw. Hang on one second here. Was in 2017. Was her first movie.
Okay.
But she played Princess Diana in The Crown, and she did an amazing job in that. So happy to see her getting some
good work,
getting some roles.
She's gonna be in the Nosferatu remake, or I don't know, relaunch. I don't know what you would call that, but anyways, yeah. But no, I thought
restart.
I thought she was really good. I liked her as a foil kind of opposite of Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
But I do got to say her power, man. I did not like the whole reaching into people's
I loved
stuff.
it. I loved it, man. The effects
were fantastic, especially
so good
when she gets a hold of what's his name?
Paradox.
Yeah. And you I didn't see this happen with anybody else as much, but with Paradox and her hands going through and his eyes like popping out of socket and stuff, I was just like, ugh.
Well, I loved it. Like she would like just stick her hand in there and have it coming out the other side of the face.
Yeah.
And then she would just like tap his forehead from it. Or like when she started dragging him while her hand
when she grabs him
like,
and
this
drags
is,
him.
man, the effects they did on that.
Yeah.
I loved every second.
That was fantastic. I'm just saying it's just disturbing to watch.
I wish they hadn't killed her off.
Yeah, she could have been interesting.
Because I would have liked to have seen
have her continue in the universe. So that's
or maybe like if she that would have been a cool and after credits scene if it had showed like her and Loki talking. I'm surprised we didn't get Loki in this.
Yeah, I thought for sure when they first they alluded to that the TVA was going to be involved with this movie. I thought for sure that we were going to get to see some Loki at some point. So a little disappointed by that. So the interesting thing that from this, and it's, I mean, they don't exactly explain why and then like where are these characters, because they kind of alluded to that Deadpool was in the MCU universe to begin with.
Yeah, that was weird because it starts out with him talking
616.
Yeah, he's
and
talking
him meeting with
Happy.
Yeah. And stuff. So then it switches over to world, I think it's like 10.
It's 10005.
Okay, yeah. And he's in that world and it's 6 years later. And so the only thing that gets me is because like if they hadn't done that, if he had always been in 1005, it would make a lot more sense of like, okay, this is why you don't hear about, Deadpool or technically X-Men stuff because, he is an extension of the X-Men universe happening in the MCU because, they're in a different timeline and this timeline they exist. But then they established like, no, he was in the main timeline and then he went to this timeline after basically being rejected. And I'm like, well, then if that's true, then like Negasonic, like the X-Men are already in this in the main timeline too because Negasonic, T and Warhead and Colossus were X-Men and stuff. And so it just makes it very weird, I guess. I mean, I know the X-Men are coming later anyways to the main timeline, but this is like establishing that like in some degree they were already here. and just
Well, I
we
mean,
haven't seen
who
him.
knows? Well, like what? Because he split the timeline when he went back and saved people, right?
True.
So who knows how it all?
Yeah.
I mean, it's also Deadpool. It doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I wonder what they're gonna do with characters that can bleed over now. Because like I said, if they're gonna bring in the X-Men later, do you think they're gonna, bring in the same guy to play Colossus, or are they gonna get a new Colossus, or is he even gonna exist? Because it's like
I like that Colossus.
Oh, I really
think they
like
should
that
keep him.
Colossus.
I like Channing Tatum as Gambit. I think they should keep that.
I don't know if that will happen, but it would be cool if it did.
Oh man, what is it? So with as far as they went with them, what are the dream ones you would have liked to have seen show up? I would have loved to have seen Anna Paquin show up as Rogue.
I mean, it would have been awesome to. I love when he's like, is it Magneto? Do we got Magneto? It's like, it would have been kind of cool, a little Magneto show up.
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen, Magneto. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, that thing is so interesting. I mean, I think one of my biggest dream ones happened was Blade. I think
Blade.
Wesley Snipes back in the Blade gear. I'm just like, that kind of takes the cake.
And you can't beat Chris Evans coming back as Johnny Storm.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was
Halle
cool.
Berry would have been funny if they had her in there as Storm.
Yeah. That would have been pretty cool. That would have been really cool. If they had Storm. That would have been really cool.
Or like, who was the actor that played the first Hulk?
Oh yeah. That guy. I mean, that's the thing is, well, so
There's
that's
so many you could have done.
I don't think they could
not the Edward Norton one. But
they
the
couldn't do Hulk because Hulk wasn't owned by Fox. Hulk was owned by a third entity, and that's why that third entity still technically has the rights to solo Hulk movies. I think it's going to expire soon, actually, and that's what Disney's waiting for. But like, that's why there hasn't been any solo Hulk movies. There's only been because they signed a deal to do the first Hulk with
Eric Bana, by the way.
Yeah, Edward Norton. But that was only Disney got the rights to do Hulk in team ups, but they can't do solo movies. But yeah, so they couldn't do Hulk other than like that brief cameo. I mean, actually, I guess like Hulk could, since they do have the rights to Hulk team ups, they could have had Hulk in this movie. Not that it needed to happen, but yeah, they could. He can't do solo outings. Let's see. So, did you catch who was Cowboy Deadpool?
No, I didn't.
Matthew McConaughey.
Nice, nice.
All right.
They did have Blake Lively as Lady Deadpool.
Yeah, Lady Deadpool.
I'm surprised that they didn't unmask her. Yeah.
I mean, would they have unmasked her and she has to have like a fucked up face like Ryan Reynolds does?
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
I liked.
I did like the pretty version of Deadpool.
Yeah, nice pool.
He's like, I'm not gonna wear a mask.
Yeah, it's like, where's your mask? And he's like, I love his wall break too when he's just like, he's like, or Deadpool says something to the camera's like, oh, I can do that too. And he's like, the proposal. And Deadpool's like, what the fuck was that? Do you think that's what I do? But yeah, so they had a lot of minor scene or minor added people of like Tyler Mane was Sabretooth. He was the original Sabretooth. They had Vinnie Jones playing Juggernaut. Mike Waters, who I didn't recognize, he's lost some weight. Even though his character is named the Blob, but they had him playing Blob again. And then we got Toad.
Yep.
And Pyro. And Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah.
Another. So it's interesting. You were talking about the variants, all the Deadpool variants, and you're like, yeah, a lot of them were just kind of more generic Deadpool. But it was like, I think big picture, it's like, well, yeah, most time variant isn't that far off from who you are. Like, yeah, sometimes you end up with a lady version or a kid version or a samurai version, but overall, it's like most of them are going to be pretty much the same as what you are, with just a slight variation. But yeah, all together, good. That was one thing that I thought was weird is Deadpool has his family / friends.
Yeah.
And, he has his ex-girlfriend. He has Al, Colossus, Negasoni's Warhead, the girlfriend.
Vanessa?
No. The Negasoni's Warhead's girlfriend.
Oh, Yukio.
Yukio, yeah. Yukio. And then he has Peter. The thing that I thought was interesting is he also brought, he had Shatterstar, who was part of the X-Force.
Yeah, I thought he died.
Yeah, I was like, he died, and I'm like, so you're telling me he went back?
Oh, did he go back and save him?
Well, that my thing is like we don't see that in the end credits of 2, and like my thing is like, okay, Vanessa, of course he went back and got Vanessa. That's the love of his life. But when Shatterstar's like, so out of all the X-Force, you were like, I'm just going to go get Shatterstar. The rest of them can stay dead.
By the way, Headpool, the floating head,
Yep.
voiced by Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah, nice, nice. Oh, both their kids. That's interesting. I didn't realize that both Kidpool and Babypool were both of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively kids. There we go. Nice.
Yeah. Lots of good fighting between Deadpool and Wolverine. Again, especially when they're fighting in the van, the minivan. That was just, I mean, I loved the music. That
minivan scene is fantastic.
How rough it is, and it's really good. But
I also love the ending of that fight when it just shows. What is it? Wolverine like sleeping, and then Deadpool's just wrapped up in his seatbelt. I'm like, yes.
I wanted him to cut off his head and then regenerate. I also would have liked to have seen the Deadpool that's made up of other body parts of Deadpool. Yeah, like that's a good character.
Yeah. So weird thing is. So we got to see also a bunch of Wolverine variants when Deadpool's hopping through time. I loved the short Wolverine.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, look at you, the comic book accurate Wolverine." But then when he finally meets, our Wolverine for this movie, he got a gun and he puts it to his head, and I'm just like, you literally just had Wolverine's skeleton. You know the whole thing is covered in adamantium. So it's like, what's that going to do to his head? Like,
maybe he has an adamantium bullet.
Maybe. Because I was like, later on when he's like shooting him in like flesh spots. I'm like, I get that. But it's like, you put it to his skull, that's just going to ricochet around and ruin somebody's day.
8.3 on IMDb. Maybe drop it down to an 8 for me.
Yeah, I mean, because
again, it just didn't have the edge I felt that 1 and 2 had.
I feel like I agree with you, but also my thing is like 8.3. I'm like, it doesn't matter in my opinion. So I'm like, I'm fine with 8.3 just as is. I think that's, like I said, I think 8 is a solid ranking for this. Yeah. A lot of fun. Glad I saw it at the theater. Yeah, glad I bought tickets 2 months in advance. That's one thing I already talked about with you was this. I was like, we went to a 9:15 in the morning showing.
Yeah,
and I was just like surprised. Like I said, the theater was
probably
not
about
packed.
3 times as many people as there usually are when we go.
I was gonna say the theater was not packed, but there was at least 15 people in it, and I'm like, for a 9:15 showing, that's pretty good. Yeah. So
it was also showing on 12 screens.
Yeah.
At the same time, which was crazy.
I'm just like, well, they like I said, people go see this movie, and I'm glad for it. I'm interested to see.
Yeah, if it makes a bunch of money, then it'll pick up, with steam, and they'll make more.
Yep. I'm interested to see how Deadpool interacts with the MCU. I think it'll be like, because like Blade that's coming out, that's going to be rated R. But it's not like...
I mean, is Blade still coming out?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Wesley Snipes or the other guy?
No, it's the other guy.
I thought that was the whole joke. I thought they canceled Blade completely.
No. Blade's still coming out next year.
All right.
It's on as of last time I checked. But no, Blade's going to be rated R. But, the MCU isn't going R, like for the other movies. But I think that's one thing that will be fun with Deadpool is him being in other movies and with his fourth wall breaking, being like, oh, he's like, can't do that this time. Feigie's watching or whatever. So I think they're going to have a lot of fun with it and still have, good Deadpool stuff. But yeah, good movie. A lot of fun.
As always, you can find us on our website, watchingitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media and to email us, watchingitpodcast@gmail.com. Donnell, what else should they do?
Well, we just got this news, so you can be prepared for it. We got Silo Season 2 coming out in November, folks. A little bit of time, but that just gives you time to watch.
Did we cover Silo?
I don't think we did, but
I don't know. We'll talk about it. We talked about it, but we didn't cover it.
Yeah, but still, you can just check it out. It's a good show, and according to Robert, book's just as good.
Oh yeah,
better.
Oh yeah.
So check out that too. Get yourself prepared for that, and then as always, give us any ratings, reviews, 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.